Morning guys, this is my second video of 2026. Apologies for my voice, I have got a stinking cold at the moment, so not feeling particularly wonderful, but while I'm resting and trying to do a few bits at home still, I thought I'd make a start on one little project that we are doing this year. We've done this before and had good results from growing this product, and something that we eat quite often. So we are going to be doing some mushroom growing this year. This is a kit my brother bought us for Christmas. I've used a few different ones over the past few years. So white elm oysters from Urban Farm, the kit has come from. I haven't had a kit like this one before. This comes with the substrate and the grow bag and everything, and then you have to order the spawn separately, and then you have to incubate the spore in the substrate. All the ones that I've had previously have had the substrate already incubated, so a little bit of a different way of doing it, but seems pretty straightforward. Quite good instructions in the box. So I've made a start already. The first thing that it is like a straw-based substrate that comes in a bag, and the first thing that you have to do is to sterilise the substrate. So the bag that it comes in is like a heat-proof bag. Quite good instructions on here, and basically you pasteurise it by soaking it in boiling water for, it says to leave it for 8 hours or until it's cooled. I poured boiling water into the bag last night and it's been sat overnight, so it's cool. So step number 2 is to drain the bag. So we'll pop outside and I'll get the bag drained, and then I will mix the spore in with the substrate once it's all drained. So I'll show you that a bit later. And then it was just going to be a waiting game and wait and see if we can get it to incubate. It does say that the ideal incubation temperature is 20 to 25 degrees. Now, I'm not sure that we'll get 20 to 25 degrees in the house unless I leave it sat very close to the log burner, but that's only if the log burner's on. It's not that warm in our house. It's about 17, which is fine. Actually more than warm enough for us, so it will spore. I have grown them before and they have grown fine in the house, so it's just going to take longer. So it does say 2 to 5 weeks depending on conditions, so it's probably going to take a bit longer than it would if it was nice and warm in the house. But we don't have central heating, we don't have a lot of heat in the house. It's an old Victorian cottage, so when the log burner's going, the house gets quite warm, but otherwise it stays at a pretty steady sort of 15, 16 degrees, 17 if we've had the log burner on and it's sort of residual heat. It's never tropical in this house, which is fine for us. So we'll see how we get on. Like I say, I've not tried this kit before, so yeah, thanks little brother for the Christmas present, and we'll see how we go. We love mushrooms, so always good. And what we'll try and see if we can do after the kit's sort of done its fruiting is to make a somewhere in the garden that we can pour the substrate after we've used it, and see if we can grow a little mushroom pot, or see if we can transfer it into some fresh substrate and have another go. So we'll see if we can get more than one go out of it. We should get a few flushes of mushrooms, but maybe we'll see if we can keep it going and alive until next year. Maybe we'll give it a bash anyway. Right guys, this is the bag of substrate that we soaked last night. It's been sat with hot water in overnight, so it's obviously cold now. So I'm just going to cut the corners of the bag and let it drain. I'm going to leave it sat out here for a few hours while it drains out. You can see that coming out already. I think I'm just going to leave that sat on the table out here for a few hours just to finish draining. So hopefully the table's got slats, so we'll just leave it like that. Right guys, back to the mushrooms. So I've drained the bag of substrate and squeezed as much water out of it as I can. So it's still a little bit wet, but I don't think I can get any more water out of it than we have. So I'm going to put it back on the draining board while I talk through the next bit. And this is the spore that was sent to me. So this arrived last week. I ordered it last week, planning to do this sooner than this, but anyway, it was much more grain than that when it arrived. So obviously the mycelium is already growing, so really need to get on and get this into the substrate. So this needs to be crumbled up, break this up, and then I need to mix it through the substrate, and then we'll get it set up in the box, which is here, which has got this liner in it. So we'll set the bag up and then we'll get it into the box ready to incubate, and then it will just sit for a few weeks until it starts to grow. So I'll just be checking it once a week to see if anything's starting to grow, but I don't expect anything to happen for at least 3 to 4 weeks, I would have thought. So we'll get this crumbled up and mix in with the substrate. I'll show you that, and then we'll get it in the box and ready to incubate. Okay guys, I don't think you can see me, but hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I've given my hands a good wash, and this is the spawn, as you can see, which we need to crumble up and pop into the substrate, which, as you can see, hopefully you can see, is like a straw type substrate. So, and it says mix it evenly throughout. It's going to be quite difficult because this is quite a slim bag, but I'll see if we can loosen it up. And apologies if this doesn't video very well and you can't see it. So there's our straw, and I'm gonna try and break this up as much as I can in the bag that it came in first, just so I don't make too much of a mess everywhere. Quite a small bag, so it's hard to get your hand in there. Let's see. And you can see the grain, which has been used to transport the mycelium on, and this white fluffy stuff is the mycelium, so the root system of the fungus. That's how all funguses, all mushrooms grow. So I'm gonna apologise if all you can hear is the bag rustling and not me talking. So that's pretty well crumbled, so I think we'll get it in there and we'll try and give it a good mix. Right, so I don't know if you can see that, it's quite hard to see, but I've crumbled this spawn through this straw-like substance. My only criticism is it's quite a narrow bag, so it's actually quite hard to get your hands in there and mix the stuff around. So hopefully that'll do the job. Okay, next step was to fold the top down and tape it, so we've done that. And now it says to cut 5 little crosses in the front of the bag. So I've given my knife a little rinse under some hot water. You can see a little bit more liquids come out of the corner of the bag where I've been mucking around with it. So we're going to go 5 little crosses 3 centimetres it says, roughly. And this will be where you check for fruit and where it fruits from once it starts fruiting. So that'll do. I'm not sure if shouldn't have compressed it a bit more. It did say compress it lightly, which I have done, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we've got our 5 crosses in the front, and now it needs to go in the box. Okay, now it says to shut the lid, but I don't think we're going to be able to shut the lid. I think what I'm going to have to do is just wrap it loosely. So that's what it says. It says wrap it loosely and then close the lid. So we'll wrap it loosely, and I can't close the lid, but we'll put it in somewhere. Put it in a cupboard so it's dark, I suppose, and then we'll leave it and see what happens. We'll check it again in a week. A little update on the mushrooms. I managed to find a box that's a bit bigger, so this sits in and I can shut the lid. And already, I don't know if you can see this, we're only a couple of days in, and just in there, little white fluffy bit, that's the mycelium starting to grow and starting to colonise the substrate that we put in there. So and that's only taken a few days. I'm not obviously expecting there to be any fruit on this for a good few weeks. We need to wait for the mycelium to colonise the bag, basically, before it'll be anywhere near wanting to fruit. But good sign. So as we grow, I'll keep you updated.